Good evening, all, and welcome to the Huddy Hui, 2 episodes in a row. It's the 33rd episode, and a rather different episode tonight. But joining me, as always, is Adam Julian. Adam, how are you doing this evening?
I'm well and really excited about this program. It's been a week of celebrating champions. Hemiframanis down at the Tawa Rugby Club last night, and one of the Wellington Saints tonight. The Wellington Saints, an absolute marvel in this city. 7 national championships in 11 years. And remember, they didn't compete last year. And the Saints, in fact, were so dominant in the local league that they were on a winning streak of 26 games in a row.
Oh, it's an incredible feat. They didn't play in last year's season due to COVID, but they came back this year. Just the 2 losses, and one of their stars is their guard. He's also a product of a great school called St. Patrick's College Silverstream. And our guest tonight is Kenneth Tuffin. Kenneth, thank you for coming on the Huddy Hui tonight. The Wellington Saints season, a fantastic season indeed. Tell us about the systems you have in place and your close losses against Southland and also Hawke's Bay.
Oh, first of all, thanks for having me on here, guys. Really appreciate the opportunity in that. So, first of all, thank you on that front. I think it's worth to mention too, we haven't lost at home as well with our past 2 seasons, from what I'm aware of. So, a 9-game home streak that I'm aware of that we haven't taken a loss at home. But yeah, it was a great season for sure. You know, obviously the ultimate goal when you set out at the start of the season is a championship, and that's, you know, everyone kind of says it. I really feel like we had the processes in place and the systems to really get us to that point. So, you know, it's really full credit to the coaching staff, the way that they prepared us, and all that kind of stuff too. The way that the trainings were planned out, and we got the end result, which was really pleasing.
Let's start back to front. The final against Hawke's Bay, it was a real dogfight. For 2 quarters, the Saints were ice cold. How did you recover it in the 4th quarter?
Just stuck to our systems. You know, we had our game plan, the way in which we wanted to execute and the way we wanted to play the game. So it was just kind of sticking to that. And really, it's been like that all season. We kind of preach the whole thing. We can't really worry about what the other team's doing. We tend to beat ourselves at the times. You know, we make our own mistakes or something doesn't go the way, but we control that. So we kind of just tried to impose our will, and happy to come away with the result.
And there was a young guy called Tane Samuel who scored a third of the Saints' points. Tell us about this youngster.
He's great, man. I've always played against Dane Samuel, so it was good to be on the same team as him now. You know, growing up in that, we were on the different sides, being at different schools, and even in the Philippines too, with his brief stint there, we played against each other. So it was cool to team up this time. He was instrumental for us. You know, combined with that, he got a lot of open looks. I think our system is designed that way. He was big for us, and he really played well, obviously, with the points and just being a presence as well.
Can you elaborate on what the systems are? Because some people might not understand basketball Saints system.
So the Saints system, just the way that Coach Zico, his offensive philosophy, I guess would probably be the easiest way to sum it up. The way he wanted us to run the offense, the ins and outs of that I'm not going to go into just because I don't want to give away too much. And obviously defensively, we had our defensive systems in place, the way that we wanted to play. And as I said, I bring it back to that whole thing about just trying to impose our will on the game and just being the controllers and the aggressors.
So where do you fit in? Because last year you were playing for Taranaki.
Yes. So obviously, yes, the Saints did not play last year due to obviously the bubble and all that kind of stuff. So I did play with Taranaki last year, but I came in expecting a defensive role. That was what me and Zico talked about. Defensive role first of all, just making it tough for the other team's, I guess, best scorer or best player at times, and then just shooting the open 3. That was pretty much my role this year.
And did you enjoy that role? Because typically you've been a prolific scoring player.
Yes. I mean, you know, everyone takes sacrifices in that to win championships. You see it at the higher levels. You see it in rugby, you know, football, network. It's all the same. Everyone has to play their role. So I was more than happy just to, you know, do my thing. And I knew that obviously the validation at the end of a championship, you know, no one can ever take that away from you. So little sacrifices here and there, you know, on the court and off the court all help towards their end goal, and we got it.
Tell us, let's roll back the clock back to your time at St. Pat's Silverstream, because you were quite the all-rounder when it came to sports. Not only did you play for basketball, the top side at Silverstream, but you also part of the first 15 in rugby, and also you played cricket as well. And I believe in your last year, you scored 125 not out against Wellington College.
Yeah, so I dabbled in a bit of sport back in the day, as you do when you're in college. It was fun. I think it definitely gave me a unique set of skills that I could, use in different codes of sport. I was obviously well-rounded, and it just allowed me to be in that team environment too. So I feel like the whole leadership aspect and being a part of a team really helped me with obviously playing those different sports.
Now, the basketball gym at Silverstream was formerly known as Siberia. You could actually breathe condensation in there, even on the hottest days in summer. And yet, when you left the college, they had a brand new spanking gym, which Tom Abercrombie called the best gym in New Zealand. And basketball had become a sport of credibility and respect. So explain your role in that.
Yeah, so when I was year 12, this was 2014, that's when the new gym was built. It was ready to go. So I had a good 2 years of the new gym and those facilities. But yeah, it's a great place where people can go, whether you're from Stream or outside of Stream, just to play basketball. And I know it's opened up for trainings and all that kind of stuff. People run morning trainings out there, and it's a great facility. So it's definitely done wonders. And they say that basketball is the biggest rising sport in New Zealand at the moment, and having those facilities and those platforms compared to 5-10 years ago, it wasn't existent. So it's really awesome, actually.
And there was a coach named Ruben Pivac. Tell us about Ruben, because he's a significant figure.
Yep. So he was the head of basketball when I was at school, and I believe he still is. Yeah, he was big for me, just allowing me to, I guess, get away with certain things when I was a bit younger. Not the old science class, but I mean on the basketball court. And yeah, just really gave me confidence from a young age, and was kind of the one that pushed me to just give it a go, and was always supporting.
So you head boy at St. Pat's Silverstream 2, and midway through your year 13 year, you were approached by a university in the Philippines, and you ended up moving over there. So tell us about your experience in the Philippines.
Yeah, so I credit that to obviously my college that I ended up to, but David Perez, a man you may not know, he really set that up for me, as well as my family and all that stuff too. But yeah, that all came about because there was a Filipino basketball tryout in Wellington, and David Perez, who's a good friend of mine now, he organized for me to go, and not everyone kind of believed I was Filipino. You're too tall. Are you sure? All this kind of, that kind of stuff. And then yeah, so I got the opportunity to try out in front of Far Eastern University, FEU for short, which is where I played my college career or my university career. So I impressed them at a camp at ASB in Kilburnie, and then headed to the Philippines for like a walk-on trial, and then got a scholarship from there.
Where is FEU in the Philippines?
You just say, so Manila is obviously the capital. You got Metro Manila. I just say Far Eastern University is just city, city central.
And FEU is a big time. I don't think the viewers appreciate how extraordinary the basketball scene in the Philippines is. Explain a typical season and the type of fanfare that's involved.
A typical season, yeah. So our season in UAAP, which is the college league in the Philippines, so that goes from September through to December normally, but we play all year round. That's our main season. That was our main season, but we play, pre-season tournaments, off-season tournaments. We even travel outside of the country. It's awesome. Like basketball over there is, I guess, rugby here. It's pretty much what kids grow up on. There's a basketball on every corner of the street. Kids playing in bare feet, just running around, at all hours of the day. That's really like a religion over there for them, and they really love it.
What type of crowds came to these games, and how did FEU fare in their major competition?
Crowds were always very consistent, because the big 8 schools in the UAAP, there was always some sort of rivalry, or a player versus a player that everyone wanted to see, all that kind of stuff. So from memory, the biggest crowd that I played in front of, which actually was against La Salle University, where Dane Samuel went, was 22,000, I think.
Wow.
roughly, yeah, 22 or 23,000 at the Smart Araneta Coliseum, where the Thriller in Manila was back in the day. So we played in that arena, and yeah, I think 23,000 for like a Final Four match. And FEU has been is the longest active streak of Final Four appearances in the Philippines at the moment. We actually never made it to the finals in my 4 years, but we were always in the Final Four in that semi-final playoff spot.
Tell us about the game against De La Salle in front of 22,000 people.
Oh, it was good. We won that one. Yeah, so it was a step ladder format because we both finished on the same points, I believe, and we had to beat them to go into the Final Four. Obviously emotions are high. The crowd's really into it. Both schools, there's drums, there's all sorts going on. It's kind of hard to hear, but when you're on that court, it's just an awesome buzz to represent your school, and I think that's what it comes down to, really. Everyone just giving their all just to represent their school, because school pride goes a long way.
How does the standard compare to New Zealand National League?
Everyone actually asked me that. It's different. I would say it's different in the fact that I haven't actually played professional in the Philippines, whereas I've played professional here. The college setup in the Philippines, university setup, I would say the game is a lot quicker. It's a lot fast. It's a lot faster. It's up and down. A lot of quick guards, a lot of versatile bigs that can run up and down. Whereas the professionals here, my first impression was it's physical. It's a bit more slower, but it's more smarter. And I guess that's probably just what it is with the pros all around the world. You would expect that.
What are the professional possibilities in the Philippines compared with New Zealand?
So the Philippines has a few professional leagues, but the main professional league in the Philippines is the PBA, so the Philippine Basketball Association, and that is the top basketball league in the Philippines, and that runs all year round, I believe, or obviously maybe a month or so of off season. So there's 3 conferences in that run all year round, and whereas obviously the NZNBL is only 3 to 4 months at a time per year. So yeah.
The off season for you, Kenneth, finished with the Wellington Saints this year. What do you do in your spare time, and do you have any other basketball competitions lined up over the next year?
Yeah, off season for me is kind of in full swing. Back into the swing of things now, just easing back into some weights, off season weights training, and then obviously having a plan out of what I want to get better on in the off season. So that's kind of in full swing at the moment, starting this week. In terms of what I'm up to, I'm a teacher aide and support person at Upper College at the moment. So I've just started there this week as well. So that will be what I'll be doing throughout the day, as well as training and working out either in the morning or nighttime, mostly every day. And then for what I'm going to be up to in the near future, or September or October, there's the NZ NBL 3-on-3, which I have registered for. So hopeful to get picked up in that by obviously the home team would be the best. So yeah, hopefully get picked up in that by the Saints.
Let's go back to the Saints. Troy McLean, 41 years old, made his debut in 1996 before half the roster was born. What does this guy mean to you and the organisation?
Yeah, Troy was a great mentor for me this year. Obviously, he has a very unique skill set that was obviously suited for our systems this year. He could shoot the ball really well in a very high volume and at a very high percentage as well. So when he's open in the corner, that's pretty much going in. That's kind of what Troy McLean was, and it was good as well. We had a great dynamic within the team this year. There was a couple of older guys, obviously me, the likes of Rangimari and Mita, like in the middle, kind of with the age group, and then we had a lot of young guys too. So it was all everyone kind of just sharing that knowledge, and obviously us younger generation are a bit eager, and whereas the older guys are trying to just teach us this is the way we do it and this is how you go about it. So it was really awesome. But for Troy McLean, I think it started off with a joke at the start of the season between him and Coach Zico Coronel. I think Zico said, Troy said to Zico, what can I do to help? And Zico said, play. So I think that's kind of how it all started out at the start of the season. And Troy was instrumental for us as well. He was a big part of our team.
The league MVP was Dion Prewster. Now, I was referencing the Siberia gym at Silverstream earlier. Dion Prewster left Silverstream to go to Wellington College in order to play in a better gym. He got vilified for it, but shame on us, contemporaries of Dion, because this guy is now the league MVP and an invaluable part of the Saints.
Yes, indeed. So Dion also picked up a contract at Melbourne United. So really happy for him on that front. He's been out of the ANBL for a couple of years, but he really works, he really hard. I know how much he works. It's that whole thing. Not everyone gets to see it, but when you're around him every day and the way he conducts himself and the professionalism is something that you definitely aspire to be. So he was big for us too as a captain, as a leader. He's not the most vocal, but he'll show it through his actions too. And as I revert to his training habits and all the stuff that he was doing in the off season, you respect a guy like that because he's living proof of what he actually tries to preach.
And Nick Mills is an owner of big personality. He's a hard negotiator. He's a wealthy guy with a lot of restaurants and businesses around town. What is it about Nick Mills that makes the players tick?
Well, his son Jordan was actually the GM this year and has been for the last couple of years. So Nick's taken a backward step. Is kind of just in the backgrounds as of late with the Saints, but he's still very much involved. I think it's just winning pedigree. People want to play for a club as well respected as the Saints, and they built that up, years. When you think of the Saints, you think championships, you think, everyone's respecting the Saints. Everyone's going to give their best game to the Saints because, it's just a well-respected organization and very professional too. So credit to the Mills family, Nick Sr. and Jordan. They've really built this organization, and I'm really thankful to have played this year.
So, Kenneth, you're eligible for not only New Zealand but the Philippines. Have you had any approaches yet, whether you'll play for either national side?
Yes, I have. It's come up quite a lot. Obviously with people asking as well, but I've had a couple talks with some higher up people about this. But yeah, I've kind of just given the same answer. Whereas, I'm not shutting the door on anything just yet. I just kind of want to establish my own personal professional career first before I look at committing to either country.
And where's that going to be? Because I understand the money on offer in the Philippines is significantly larger than that in New Zealand.
Yeah, I mean, it's always been, obviously, ever since I studied in the Philippines, the PBA has been a pathway of which, a lot of my teammates have gone to. A lot of guys that I've played against have also ended up in the PBA. So that's definitely where I see myself in the immediate future. Obviously, after playing this year, it's been great, for exposure. And obviously having that championship pedigree now, I know what it takes. I feel like I'm a better player for it. And I definitely see myself heading back to the Philippines at some stage and trying to set up my professional career there with the option of also always coming back to New Zealand.
Well, Kenneth, it's been fantastic having you on the Huddy Hui tonight, and well done on a fantastic season with the Wellington Saints, and all the best for your basketball career.
Cool. No worries. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Cheers. Adam, the Kenneth Tuffin, of course, 2015, Tim Barton, who used to write the articles for College Sport Wellington, the Dominion Post, wrote a fantastic article on this unique sportsman. And what we also didn't mention is that he was also a McKevity champion in 100-meter hurdles, so a fantastic athlete.
Absolutely, and what a race at the Olympic Games in the hurdles the other day. If you haven't checked that out, the 400 metres hurdles, arguably the greatest Olympic race of all time.
Men's and women's.
Men's and women's, right. Absolutely, just sensational. But yes, Kenneth, while we've still got you here, that win in the hurdles was quite symbolic for you, because 3 years earlier, there was a very special young man who won a hurdles championship in the McKevity Shield, and he tragically passed. Tell us about your dear friend, Zelius Venter.
Yeah, man, that meant a lot. That year was tough. Obviously, when I was year 10, he was a part of our rugby team, quite close. His dad was involved with coaching too, so it just kind of made it a lot more harder for most of us that were I wasn't overly close with him, but when something like that happens, everyone tends to come together and remember those like memories that you kind of had with each other, and then winning that hurdles. It's something that I trained for, but I definitely didn't expect it, given the field and given it was my first time. But it was just something that came over me, I guess, and it was very special just to do that and kind of point it up to the sky. It's just to say like, I know you're with me and that kind of stuff too. And it was just awesome to do that in front of my school as well.
He can run, jump, catch, pass, and fend. That's why he was the head boy. That's why he's a Wellington Saints champion. Kenneth, also a male model and raconteur of repute, ran a false ID racket. We won't say anything about that. But thank you again for being on this program.
Sheesh. No good. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Kenneth. Well, we often talk about the Hurricanes and the Wellington Lions and the Wellington Phoenix, but the record of the Wellington Saints, as you mentioned, the start of the broadcast, 7 out of 11 titles so far in the Wellington Saints career. They produced a number of Tall Blacks as well over the years. A fantastic sporting organisation.
Well, it's 12 championships overall and 7 in the last 11 years. They went a long time actually without success, but the last decade has been wonderful for the Saints, and they won all 20 matches in 2019, 18-2 this year, and they produced some real Wellington identities. One of my favourite Saints ever was Terence Lewis, or T. Lou as he was affectionately known. Yeah. And if you know anything about T. Lou, you can see him buzzing around Lambton Quay as a courier man now. He worked at the airport for a while, but he was a sensational three-point shooter. And the Saints won the title for the first time in many years in 2003. They beat Waikato in the final in additional time. Troy McLean played that one.
Yes, he
and
did.
That was the first championship in a number of years. And then the story evolved from there. And basically, the Saints have been perennial contenders ever since.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic team organisation, and really the work that Nick Mills did to get the Saints to where they are. It's a fantastic achievement. You hear Nick Mills on the radio now on News Talk ZB in the morning between 9 and 12. They've given Wellington back a show. So Nick Mills on the airwaves plugging the news of Wellington going around the place. Well, Adam, it was a special day in New Zealand sporting history. Who can't forget the achievements of Lisa Carrington over the last 3 days? She won 2 gold medals in the K200 and the 500, or the K2 500 in the space of an hour and a half. And then today she won another gold medal. She's had 5 overall, 1 bronze at Rio. She has gone down as our most successful Olympian. Will she probably go down as our best ever?
Well, if anyone wastes my time again, I'm going to tell them I can watch Lisa Carrington win a gold medal in 35 seconds. What a marvel she is. It's extraordinary how she starts. She just completely blitzes these opponents. And Kenneth is a high-level sports achiever. What Lisa Carrington did today must have really caught your eye.
I think we've just lost them there. His sound's gone. So, but no, she's just an incredible athlete. And
he's speechless.
He's speechless. He's lost for words. But Lisa Carrington, an absolute legend. And in terms of our points table, Adam, we've moved up to 8th on the Olympic medal table. 7 golds, 4 silvers, and 6 bronze, 17 overall. And we're pretty much on par with the number of medals we got in Rio. And
only 1 gold away from replicating the 1984 Los Angeles total. Lisa Carrington is one of several women at these Olympics who are making a profound impact. The New Zealand Sevens team won the gold medal after a silver in Rio de Janeiro. And there's only 16 women in the history of New Zealand Olympics who have won more than 2 gold medals. Lisa Carrington has won, Valerie Adams has won, Barbara Kendall won a rainbow of medals, and half of that tally are now New Zealand Sevens rugby players. The New Zealand Women's Sevens team, the first team for a woman to win back-to-back medals for New Zealand at the Olympics. And to put into context the achievements of women at these games. The first double medalist for New Zealand in any Olympics was Peter Snell when he won twice in 1960. And so this is a really significant Olympics for female. And of course, it's notable too that if you watch the Television One coverage in the afternoon, it's Tony Street, it's Hayley Holt, and it's Jane Cowley-Smith doing an excellent job with their palatable, enthusiastic, and knowledgeable analysis. So a real triumph for women, these Olympic Games.
Oh, it certainly is, and it's just been absolutely magical. And Lisa Carrington, well, she's already got the Hellberg sewn up already for 2021, and she's still got another Olympics left in you. And it's interesting stat we're talking about last night, Adam, prior to our other Huddy Hui, is that in the I think it's the K1 200, she has been undefeated since 2012 at the London Olympics.
No defeats in that class, which will actually vanish for Paris in 2024. So that's why the victory today was so significant. In that event, she won bronze in Rio de Janeiro in 2016. She probably put that in the bin now. She's got so many golds. And she won the world title in 2019 in this class. And now she is the Olympic champion, and convincingly too. So Lisa Carrington running out of space for all those medals, and probably going to have to change her phone number as well.
Well, more than likely too. And also kicking off this weekend is it's gone back to the name we used to know it, Adam, as the Bunnings NPC. The NPC starts this weekend, and there's a few big names and some teams.
Absolutely. Wellington will have the services of their two All Blacks, Asafo Moore and TJ Perenara, for the match against Northland. 2:05 kickoff at the stadium. Won't be a straightforward match for Wellington. Northland were very good in last year's NPC, lost a cracking championship final to Hawke's Bay, who beat Wellington convincingly. The Magpies really slaughtered a whole lot of Wellington players that day.
Oh, it was a bad omen, wasn't it? Yeah.
and so that'll be a good game. And then the championship opens tomorrow night with counties against Manawatu and Palmerston North, and Hoskins Satutu, I understand, is playing for counties. And I'm really excited for the debut of Logan Henry, the young Batoni halfback.
Correct, yeah.
Has really played some wonderful rugby for Batoni and Hutton International Boys School in Wellington over the years. He's been one of my favourite club players to watch. He's toiled away in Wellington, had a stint in the Bay of Plenty, couldn't crack it, but the Cyclones have given him a chance. The Turbos, rather. The Cyclones are the female team.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And he's going to go well.
Oh, he will go well. It's a shame he was never picked up by Wellington. But when he played for Batoni, he was extremely reliable with the boot, particularly in tough conditions, particularly McBain Shields. We're also looking to see how Marty Banks goes for Southland. They named him as captain for the Stags this weekend in the Battle of the South against Otago, Adam. So Marty Banks playing for Southland this year. Well, that's the Huddy Hui for tonight. And it's been great having 2 episodes and a great week of sport. And many thanks to our guest, Kenneth Tuffin, and also to you as always, Adam.
Thank you.
And ciao for now.